Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, Butler High School Athletic Director, Bill Mylan. And Bill, never a dull moment for you, right?
Yeah.
And the issue permeating Butler athletics, in spite of all the success going on in other sports, is football. So let's go back 2 years ago when you had to go to court to play McDowell in the championship game. Unfortunately, Butler lost 62-7. But it seemed that the WPIAL's interpretation was that you had agreed to come back into WPIAL and play in 6A. So they issue you a schedule for this coming fall, and you tell them we're going to play independent. I'll let you take it from there and what happened.
Yeah, so basically they had interpreted that we were going to be coming back into the WPIAL, and we had basically made a statement that we were going to play an independent schedule. We felt like that was the best thing for our program to continue to grow, to be able to pick the competition level that we were going to play against. So then obviously there was some back and forth things going on with our superintendent being very supportive of us playing an independent schedule and developing our program. There were some backdoor communications going on with our wishes through our solicitor, Tom Breath, with the PIAA, and ultimately it led to the PIAA understanding our situation, and we're very grateful that they allowed us to be able to take an independent schedule. So.
Well, let's look at 4 years ago. You go into District 10. Played there 4 years, looking to bridge that gap to get back into 6A. So as a former player and a former offensive defensive line coach, we did some of your games, but we did not do any games with McDowell or Prep or Seneca. But I went to those games, and so I saw a significant difference in size and physicality. So what I'm asking you, I don't know if you have the answer, why was that gap not narrowed in developing the size in the trenches? Those games are won there in the trenches, and we can't play against those teams. Scores are evident.
Yes. So those are some of the things. We obviously, with any program, whether it's football, wrestling, basketball, we're always looking to improve. What can we do in the off season to improve those programs? We've identified a couple areas with football, one of them being the strength and conditioning area that we want to utilize and improve. And we actually brought in a gentleman from the Penguins to help out with our strength and conditioning program, which we started about a month ago. The football boosters have been very helpful in helping us attain this person from a financial standpoint, and it's been working out great. We've had quite a few kids in the weight room, so that's one of the areas we've identified. Obviously, there's several other things that we want to improve on, but we're hoping that those things will all work out in a positive manner in the off season. So
now the numbers have come up. We did your game with Meadville last year, and I counted, I think, 65 players. And then later in the season, we did the North Allegheny Pine Richland game, and I checked the rosters, and they both had like 65 to 67. So in terms of numbers, you're on a par with them, but you're not ready. So let me ask you, going in this independent schedule, it doesn't look like a very strong schedule. Shaler's one of the better teams on the schedule. Obviously, Westinghouse, very, very good. And then Alderdice, Brashear, and Clarion. Do you think playing this schedule will give you a chance to get back into 6A?
I do, and that's ultimately our goal. We've said that from the start, but I think with the fact that, one of the years in that 4-year span there, we were looking to go with a different schedule, was a COVID year. That set us back a little bit, but we knew it was going to be a 2 to 4 year plan, and that COVID thing kind of threw us back. But we're hoping that ultimately our goal is to get back into the WPIAL. But to go back to a point you made with the NAs and the Pine Richlands, I think one of the issues that we have is the lack of depth that some of those other schools have. When you go to an NA or a Pine Richland, I think you see that their number twos are almost as good as their number ones. So we're trying to improve that quality of depth at Butler to be able to compete at that level, and that's one of the things that we're trying to develop.
Yeah, for example, going to the Butler and just taking Seneca Valley, for example, they were 3-7 last year, but beat Butler 55-0. But when I looked at them coming out, their size in the trenches was significantly.
Yeah.
The difference was great.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things what I mentioned earlier. We identified the strength and conditioning as an area where we've got to improve, and that not only includes us providing something more beneficial to our student athletes, but it also means the student athletes committing to that program.
So you mentioned your goals going in this independent schedule. So let me ask you, what would it take, let's say, this season and next season in terms of wins and losses to convince you that you're ready to go back, as well as the numbers?
Well, I think obviously, like you said, the numbers are important for us first and foremost, and then having a winning record. I think in both of those seasons, and being able to gauge where we're at with some of the better teams. And I think when you go back to the schedule that you talked about, the Shalers and Westinghouse being strong teams, but those two West Virginia teams that we have on the schedule, Wheeling Park and University High, I think will be good tests for us too, to be able to see where we're at.
Who else are you playing? Are you playing Connellsville?
We are playing Connellsville, yes.
Now, you mentioned Shaler, and using an analogy, they were terrible a few years ago in football. They made significant strides and went to the game last year, the opening game at Shaler, and they whipped Butler pretty good, 38-7. So you ever talked to anyone from Shaler, how they got things turned around? They made the playoffs the last few years. Pretty good.
Yeah, I know quite a few years ago, if you remember, they had, and this was a while back, they had the tight end that went to Pitt.
Yes.
And they had a good 3 or 4 year span there where they were really good. So I think sometimes it's just an influx of better talent of student athletes, and football specifically. But I don't think there's any secret or any key to it. I think it's just, focusing in on your negative aspects and trying to improve those areas.
So let me ask you, that's not a guaranteed thing that after 2 years you're automatically going to go back into 6A?
No. We're obviously, we'll take this next 2 year cycle to evaluate where we're at and try to look and see what we want to do after that 2 year cycle.
So is it possible Butler could remain independent for beyond the 2 years, for a number of years?
It's possible, absolutely, yeah.
So what have you discussed this with the WPIAL and what their reaction is to that?
Well, I think just their reaction, plain and simple, is they would love to have us back because the number of teams in 6A football is so few, far and in between that they'd love to have us back in the scheduling mix for sure. But there's been no talk about, us coming back and what that means, other than the fact that it just provides another 6A team.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Well, there were 7 in 6A now. Butler included would have been 8. You go out east and there are over 30 6A teams, so there's a great disparity there. So looking at this coming year, coming off a 2-8 season, you would hope you'd win 6 or 7 games this year to see that you're moving ahead in the right direction.
That's our hope. I think a winning record is one of our goals. We'll have several goals for the team next year, but I think having a winning record is something that we want to attain.
Now, are you concerned at all that the WPIAL could be somewhat punitive if you don't come back in 2 years? We talked about Farrell was in the WPIAL, left, came back, left. They tried to come back this year, and the vote was 16-0 against them. But I don't know what they could do with Butler just being an independent in one sport.
Well, I mean, they haven't expressed to us that there's going to be any kind of punitive actions taken against us. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, they have other teams within the WPIAL like Connellsville and Albert Gallatin and Brownsville, and teams that are playing independent schedules as well. So if you're not going to have punitive actions against those schools, I'm not sure why they would isolate us.
Well, when I had Scott Seltzer on, I mentioned and I mentioned this to every director of the field that I've interviewed over the years. Why not follow the Florida system where you take teams after so many years, you put the winners go together, the losers go together, and you give them a chance to come back, but no one seems to be interested in doing that.
Well, so it's interesting that you say that, because that was one of the points of contention. We had that agreement in place with the PIAA, and one of the things was that we could come and talk about relegation, which was something that we mentioned to the PIAA. You have a success formula. Why not have a relegation policy? And not just because of Butler football. There's other teams in the WPIAL that may struggle in sports like soccer or volleyball, whatever it may be, to help teams across the membership and help them if they're struggling and keep those programs afloat.
Well, you know what I hear, and you hear it all the time too. And when I mention this to maybe other coaches, ADs, they go, "You got 833 boys between 9 and 11. You can't drop down and play these other teams." You hear that all the time.
Oh yeah, and I don't know that necessarily just dropping down a classification is the answer either, because when
5A
you
is
look
pretty
at
tough.
when you look at 5A football across the board, it's as strong, if not stronger, than 6A football.
Aliquippa, Pine, Penn Hills.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, you're doing a great job. Thanks for coming on. Hope things get straightened out, and look forward to things to come.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
EXP Stream is the best way to get all your TV in one place. Miss the beginning of a program or forgot to record? Look for the Start Over icon and restart it up to 72 hours later. EXP Stream from Armstrong. Streaming solved.
I am back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight Girls Basketball. North Catholic won its third straight WPIAL title, defeating Blackhawk 40-37 in overtime behind Elena Rocco's 26 points. For the Trojanettes, it was their 23rd WPIAL title. Congratulations to Coach Molly Rotman and the Trojanettes. 17-7, they take on Conneaut in the next round, 16-9 in the States. And I didn't see this championship coming this year for them.
I did.
Did you?
That's what I said. I said last week.
Yeah.
You guys picked Blackhawk. I went North Catholic. So they have good players and they have good coaching. So you guys can compare. They're going to be there. You don't think this is the end of it, do you?
No. District 9 2A Girls Championship, Red Bank Valley 63, Montauk 55. Catherine Kelly with 18 points. She had 31 in a 51-41 semifinal win over Sport. Next up from Montauk, 18-6, they take on West Middlesex in the first round 2A playoffs. You guys familiar with West Middlesex?
Just okay. Montauk can win. I mean, they're home. That'll help. But Middlesex, this isn't. They had some powerhouse teams that went there.
At one time, I remember.
This isn't one of them.
All right, and in 3A, Karn City 41, Chestnut Ridge 34 in a sub-regional playoff. Naomi Vaneski, she had 12 points, and Brooklyn Taylor had 10. Next for Karn City, 18-8, they take on Seton LaSalle, 15-10, and that game will be at Karn City. And in the 6A WPL championship game, Norwin 56, North Allegheny 41. Next up for NA 22-3, PIAA first round. They take on Erie 17-7. And in 4A, Knock 15-11. They're at Fairview 20-5. Ada Fuller's 28 points in a 60-40 win over Central Valley in a consolation game led the Knights to the state playoffs. And in 2A, Rochester 17-8 versus Everett 18-7.
Never know who's going to sneak in there from another.
No, someone gets
district.
hot at this time.
Uh-huh.
Get rid of the home floor sign. It's so bad.
Yeah,
it's
true.
I mean, you're playing the first round in the home floors. Why? Do they need money that badly?
George, we can't make sense out of what they do from year to year and how it changes.
I just don't understand why I understand like playing at Clarion and maybe a doubleheader, tripleheader, whatever. And then the team that Union plays, their floor is so small, they have to play at Pitt Johnstown because there's no 3-point line.
Now, boys basketball 4A Hampton 22-4, led by their top scorer Peter Kramer, who averages around 23 points a game. They host Hickory 17-8. Grove City 15-10 at Uniontown 22-4. Tell us about Hickory.
They're decent. You know, they can win. They can win a game.
They got that great tradition.
Yeah, they could win a game, but Hampton's
very good.
Hampton's better now.
Grove City with tough task at Uniontown. Because Uniontown gave Lincoln Park all they could handle.
Somebody told me all year how good Uniontown was. So Grove City have to play their very best to win that one.
In 3A, Elwood City 17-9, led by Joseph Ross, 21 points, and a consolation game win 40-37 over York. They would take on Westmont Hilltop 20-5.
That'll be a tough game. Westmont Hilltop's good. That's Guilfoyle's district, and they didn't win it.
And in 2A, Fort Cherry 20-6, they're at Karn City 20-7. Red Bank Valley in the District 9 2A championship game defeated Karn City 76-58. Tate Bailey had 21 points. And in Class A play-in game, Union of Reimersburg 63, Du Bois Central 42. Hayden Smith had 72 points. Next up for Union Reimersburg 13-11, they take on Imani Christian.
Hey, goodbye.
Ooh, that was nasty.
Hey, wrestling, WPL Championship boys, 114 pounds in a thrilling finish. Butler Santino Sloboda took down Norwin's Landon Saidun. I hope I got his name right. In the final 22 seconds to win, Saidun was ranked number 1 in the country. Santino Sloboda now 36-0. They're likely to meet again in
They
the
will
States.
meet again, yes.
Wow.
They will meet
What
again.
a
Incredible.
win.
Incredible.
What a win. That's a number one kid in the country.
Yeah, you're
to
not
beat.
talking about, and the wrestling's plenty good, too. Don't forget that.
And in 133-pound Case Chop of Butler, he finishes 4th. 139, Dominic Ferraro of Pine Ridge in 2nd, and winning another gold medal at 172 pounds, Vaughn Spencer of Pine Ridgeland. He's headed to Bucknell. And in girls wrestling, Western Regional Champ, 118 pounds, Anna Malovich of Butler. She won on a pin. She's 15-0. And I'm wondering, she's 118. She weighs more than Santino. Maybe Santino wouldn't want to wrestle
Practice her, right?
Hey, in swimming, WPL finals, NA girls won their, you ready for this, 16th straight WPL championship. They scored 477 points to Fox Chapel's 295. Seneca Valley was 3rd, and Pine Ridgeland was 6th. For NA, Clara Baku, she was 1st in the 500 freestyle. Greta Moss, 2nd in the 100 breaststroke. Natalie Sens, 1st in the breaststroke. Tori Tiepo, 4th in the breaststroke. And Julia Tengowski, 5th in the 500 freestyle. No one has depth like this swim team does.
Wow.
And Seneca Valley, Sasha Myers. And Seneca Valley has a very good swim team. She was 5th in the 100 freestyle, and Della King was 6th in 100 backstroke. And in 2A WPIAL, Giona Lavarini of Knox, she wins a gold medal in the 100 breaststroke. And junior Kira Schreckengoss of Freeport, she earned 4 medals. She took home gold in the 100 butterfly, 4th in the 200 individual medley, 6th with the 400 relay team, and the 200 individual medley placed 4th. And her freshman sister, Carrie Schreckengoss, 3 medals, 3rd in the 100 backstroke, member of the 4th place 400 freestyle relay, and she was 7th in the 100 freestyle. Eleni Sheets of Hampton, 2nd in the 100 backstroke. And in boys swimming, the North Allegheny boys, they won their 2nd straight title, 402 to 282 over USC. The 100 freestyle was dominated by the Tigers. Grant Regul, he was 2nd. Zachary Taylor, 4th, and Riley Williams was 6th. William Gayo, 4th in the 100 backstroke. Josh Birdie, 3rd in the 500 freestyle, and the 400 freestyle relay. North Allegheny was 2nd. But here comes the swimming performance of the week in 2A. North Catholic's Luke Lamb won gold medals in the 50 freestyle and the 100 backstroke. And he didn't beat just anyone. In a fierce battle, he beat Joseph Roth of Riverside. Lamb set a new record, WPL record in a backstroke, beating Roth by a split second. And I think Roth owns a state record in the backstroke, does he not?
Yes, he does.
So these two are going to meet again. I bet there'll be some waves rippling in that swimming pool when they meet again. And Roth, you'd say, well, it's disappointing. He won 3 medals. He won 2 silver medals, plus he was a member of the 4th place 400 freestyle relay.
Yeah, it's just they rave about him already, but just think he goes to practice. He goes basketball practice.
Basketball.
Wait till he concentrates just on swimming. Yeah. You understand? Then that's all he concentrates on.
Is he committed to Indiana, the Big Ten?
No,
not yet.
Anywhere yet.
He has Big Ten schools after him.
Yeah,
right?
he's going Big Ten. I'm pretty sure
I
he's
thought he
going.
was going to Ohio State.
No, he
Ohio
hasn't
State,
won
Indiana.
anywhere. He's not going anywhere yet.
They both offered, I think. Chris Belch of Hampton was 3rd in the 100 backstroke. District 10 championship girls, Molly Masella, Slippery Rock High School, gold medals in the 100 butterfly and 200 freestyle. She's had a terrific swimming career there. And the Slippery Rock High School girls 400 relay team led by Masella and Maddie Gosselman, Sensor Grant, and Rayleigh Fajon. They set a school record in the 400 relay. Tremendous for them. All right, our stories of the week. The Penn, 7th place in the Metro, 27, 23, and 8. They took a pounding to Edmonton, 6-1. 24 games left, and their playoff chances are fading fast like a snowball on an Arizona sidewalk. You said it before, you don't think they're going to make it. I'm convinced it's just not there.
I know it's not there, and it's not there all year, and I have no idea why Mike Sullivan's not being called out. His name.
Well, I think he is.
You think he is?
I think he's getting some heat, but
Maybe he is. Okay, I didn't think so, Eddie.
I don't look
it.
for them to make any changes. The new general manager said that he needs to make some changes. I don't know. He knew that coming in, but once again, where do you start? Who do you get rid of?
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to do something. I mean, the definition of insanity is what you're doing.
Yeah, and like I said before last week, their farm system is not very talented. They have the oldest team in the National Hockey League, and I made the analogy with Chicago Blackhawks. They broke things up, and they have plunged to the bottom.
That's why it's difficult.
Hockey. And
that's why it's hard to do. What do you do? Yeah. Which way do you go?
The same thing happened to Chuck. No, he didn't want to get rid of all those guys. And look what happened when the Steelers got old right away, and it took them years and years to get back into playing caliber football.
Tough call, it really is.
Yeah. Hey, in college basketball, Iowa's Caitlin Clark, she scored 35 points to become the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, passing LSU great Pete Maravich, who had 3,667 points. Caitlin now with 3,684. But let's do a comparison. I take nothing away from her. She's a great, great player. Maravich in 3 seasons and 83 games scored 3,667 points, no three-point scoring, and he couldn't play as a freshman. Clark has 3,684 points in 4 seasons and in 130 games, 47 more games. So George, you're the math guy. Do the math. He'd have well over 5,000 points.
47 times 40, have another 2,000.
Another 2,000. So I don't know whether they'll do an asterisk or anything for that.
They won't.
Difference, but I take nothing away from her. She's a great player.
She's great for the women's program. No question about that.
Hey, Slippery Rock University men defeated Edinburgh, a game you could see here on Channel 10, 90-73. They're 12-1 at home to clinch 3rd place in the PSAC West. Their 4th straight win. Ike Herster with 20. But they lost their last regular season game. A disappointment in Mercier, 69-51. Puts them 3-12 on the road for the season. But last night at home against Seton Hill, they won 71-69 on a Jomo Goins basket with less than 4 seconds to play.
Absolutely.
He had 19 points in the game. He scored 12 of the Rock's last 15 points. They moved to the second round against Cal.
That'll be a tough one down there.
Hard to win in the playoffs. The games that pick up.
Yeah.
And in their league, they know each other so well. It really comes down to individual play. Very seldom does a play win the game.
Yeah, they're lucky that Indiana got upset, or they'd have played Mercier twice in 2 days.
Yeah, and you just look at the Rock, 13-1 at home, 3-12 on the road. Just if they're 500 on the road, they got a 20-win season.
Albert and I talk about this. It's not the crowd. There is no crowd.
I don't understand it. Coach doesn't even understand.
No, we asked the end because other than Indiana, nobody goes. As a matter of fact, it's embarrassing.
Couple Slippery Rock crowds you're talking about.
Yeah, they're 13-1. You see a home crowd.
It's not a home crowd advantage.
No.
All right, on the bubble, Clemson 69, Pitt 62. Hinson held to 6 points. Pitt did rebound against Boston College 90-65. Hinson had 19, Carrington 18. Pitt 19-10, 9-8. 3 ACC games remaining. Florida State, a dangerous game at Pitt, and then the ACC tournament. Now, let me ask you guys, was Pitt helped by the fact that Notre Dame knocked off both Wake and Clemson last week?
Yes.
That helps them.
That's a chance they have, but they have to get the 22 or 23 wins, though, to get in.
Boy, it sounds like a lot for the ACC, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. And in a league that's down, there's no real dominant, outstanding
No, they're taking
team.
6 in the Mountain West. When did that ever happen?
It's hard to understand sometimes, but do they make it? Pitt? Do they?
I just said they have to get to 22 or 23 wins.
So that's 1 win. That's 2 more plus 1 in
So
the tournament.
they have to win 3 more games than 19 and
That's
and
what
10.
everybody says.
And somebody has to get upset.
But there's a log jam in there. They're 9-8. I think Wake Forest is 9-7 or 10-8, and Syracuse is in there at 10-8, and same thing with Clemson.
But what
It's
hurts
a
them,
real jumble.
Syracuse twice, and then didn't they lose to Wake twice, though?
They lost the Wake and blowout losses to both Duke and Wake hurt them. 33 points to Wake and 30 points to Duke hurts them.
The other thing that has to happen is if there are upsets in the other tournaments, they have
yeah.
no chance to get in.
But who's hot? How about the Duquesne Dukes? They started Atlantic 10 play 0-5. Since then, they've gone 8-3 to pull even at 8-8. They're 18-10 overall, led by 2 pretty good players, Day Grant and Jimmy Clark III. This might be the best year for them
It's
in a number of years.
That league, I'll tell you, people don't realize how many good teams are in that
Yes,
league.
very good.
Oh man, Davidson, Richmond. I mean, just right off the top, they were never in the Atlantic 10 before.
No, I think Dan Brock's done a pretty good job. When they started off 0-5, I said, hey, this could be his last year. But he's turned it around. I have to give him credit.
They changed their tempo. They went from trying to score, and now they play one of the slowest paces in the NCAA basketball. Give them credit for changing the way.
Yes.
And the kids adapting to that. It's not easy to
They
do
just
that.
won to beat Drexel with 59-51.
Yeah, their scores are all in the 50s, yes.
Hey, college football, NCAA, another court battle defeat on the booster-backed collectives. Are we surprised? Now, NCAA President Charlie Baker, he said to pause all investigations involving third-party participation in NIL-related activities. Are we surprised?
Just do what you want.
Now, it's just a matter of time. How long have I been saying this? That the 4 power conferences are going to break away, form their own athletic association with their own president. Hello, Nick Saban or some commissioner or former commissioner. Call it the American Collegiate Football Association. It's going to happen here within another year or two.
Let me ask you, if that occurs,
yes.
Won't the little guys all lose that one guarantee game that keeps them afloat?
That's quite possible. That could happen. So you already see the playoffs coming for next year. You're going to have 7 from the conferences and then 5 at large.
Most of them will be SEC and Big Ten.
You know what? They're already angling. They want to go to 14. They eventually want to go to 16, and the Big Ten and the SEC want 6 guaranteed.
And going back to what you said, when they form this new power conference, they're going to say to them, "You're not playing down anymore.
That's what
You're not playing. You're not going to play those teams
they'll fold
anymore.
up. The MAC will dry up.
Well, I think that's where they're headed, and we'll see what happens.
They don't care either.
No, they don't care. Not with that kind of money involved. Hey, that's it for us. We ran out of time. We'll see you next week.
EXP Stream is the best way to get all your TV in one place. Miss the beginning of a program or forgot to record? Look for the Start Over icon and restart it up to 72 hours later. EXP Stream from Armstrong. Streaming solved.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.